Along your journey to become a great mix engineer, you will most certainly encounter this thing I'm about to describe. Now, Darrell Thorp, a guy who's 9-time Grammy winning, who's worked with people like Radiohead, Beck, the Foo Fighters, 21 Pilots, just to name a few. This guy has experienced this, and he shares a great story. And this was at a point in his career where he had already achieved a lot. He was already well known as being a great mixer, and he still encountered this. So I want you guys to really understand what happens along the journey, and that way you will know how to deal with it when it happens to you, because it will happen if you're on this journey long enough. So check this out. This is fair use for teaching purposes. Fair use for teaching purposes. Here we go.
Yeah, so back to my story. Yeah, I just got fired off a gig, but it was really weird because the producer is somebody that I've never worked with before. And the producer was trying to, so quote unquote, push his guy onto the artist. And so the artist, who is a repeat client of mine, was like, no, I have a guy and I have a great relationship. Well, so I mixed the 3 songs and he gave them to the producer, and the producer just came back and said, hate it, take my name off of it.
Wow, didn't even want to talk to you about it. Just
didn't even want to talk to me about it. Which I thought was a little like, I know I don't suck.
You know, it's a shame that we have to work with people sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But didn't want to talk to me about it, which I thought was like, yeah, you would think that the guy would just call me up and go, hey, you know, obviously you have an amazing resume and blah, 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 but I just didn't think that your aesthetic was quite what I'm looking for in the production. And mind you, it's just, it's kind of like, it's R&B. It's not, it's literally just like R&B, electronic drums, synth bass, da, 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 da. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science.
Right.
So, but I don't know. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about mentioning that because not to throw anybody under the bus, but at the same time, people who are listening to this said conversation will probably end up having this problem at some point in their career of, like, especially getting fired off things. It's not easy pill to swallow. It's not.
No. But it's also, you know, there's no right answer to anything we do. So it's all just a matter of opinion. And sometimes the people who control the hiring and the firing don't share your opinion.
Correct.
All right. Fair enough.
Correct. Yep.
Fair enough. Yep. That's all right. You know, it can happen.
So that's a very clear explanation of what could happen to you. It's happened to me before. It's something that will happen to everyone on their journey. You will have a client who may be the artist, or it may be not. In this case, it was actually the guy who produced the album decided to go silent after things were sent to him, and he just said he didn't like it, and that's it. You will run into artists who do this too, who will just go silent after you've worked maybe for days on their song, then you send it to them, they just go silent. And what you have to take from this, in my opinion, is a couple things. Number one, it's not your fault that they can't communicate. In order to achieve a product that's great, people have to care. And because you could send them something that you made all your decisions and it's great to you, but if they don't care enough to be able to communicate to you what they think needs to be changed or what they don't like, then that's somebody who doesn't really care about the end result. And if you're working with people who don't really care, it's better to not work with them. So not hearing back from them is actually very telling. It's a sign that you shouldn't be working with them, because anybody who cannot communicate is not really invested enough to want to achieve their goal. Because even if it's something like, hey, you know, I understand, you know, you made a lot of decisions here and unfortunately I don't like them. And then you can dive deeper. What is it that you don't like? Can you explain it? And if they start giving you anything, these are things you can work with in order to make changes. If they don't give you anything and they don't communicate with you, there's so many things that could be happening that are outside even of whether they liked it or not. For example, If they just listen back and they don't like the way their voice sounds, they don't like the way, the lyrics they chose to use, they don't like the song anymore, they don't like the part they played on the guitar, they could not like so many things that make it where now they don't want to finish the song that have nothing to do with you. So you cannot look at, when you send something out and you get a response like this that he's describing, don't take it to heart. Don't let it hurt your confidence, because you will never know what it is they like or don't like. So that's what I mean when I say you have to look at it like, well, now I know I can't work with this person because they don't communicate. So realize that that is a situation you should just move on from and work with people who do care enough to communicate. Just move off working with that person. Don't be like hung up and keep trying to reach them and, let a month go by and then reach out again, or a month. Worse yet, don't keep mixing the song hoping they'll reply one day when you get a mix that they like. Assume this person has already abandoned the idea of doing music altogether, of maybe they doubt themselves as an artist too much. Just assume that. Assume it has nothing to do with you. Because if it's something that you can take and make better, they would communicate. People will be willing to communicate and talk to get to the answer, because that's the thing. Even if they don't know exactly what they don't like, if you talk to me long enough, we'll figure it out, because I will ask enough questions to get to the root of what it is you don't like, and maybe I can fix it. But if there's no communication, you just eliminate the possibility of that, and you also don't want to beat yourself up over something that may not even be about you. So it's just multifold when a guy who's a Grammy Award-winning guy gets the same thing to happen to him as people who are coming up may experience. You got to realize it's about the artist you're dealing with. It's about that person, the producer you're dealing with, whoever who does this to you. It's not about you. It could have nothing to do with your skill level, so don't let it affect your confidence in what you're going to do next. Just wipe that away as, I'm glad I found out I can't work with them, and keep it moving. That's the best way to deal with things like this, because if you could ever know what was wrong, you could fix it. But if they wait 6 months to tell you what was wrong, they don't really care about the project anyway. You understand? 5 months go by. Oh, hey, I had to do a bunch of stuff and now I'm getting back to you finally. How long do they expect you to keep the stuff on hard drives that's available to use? It's absolutely ridiculous. So you know who you're dealing with at that point, and you should not be consistently, continuously placating somebody like that. If they don't care enough to get back to you in a reasonable time frame with what the issues are, you shouldn't care enough about working with them. As far as you're concerned, you did your job, because you don't send anything out until you love it. You don't send anything out until you've crossed all the I's, dotted all the T's, and everything you're listening to sounds great, where you say, I'm confident in this, I can send it out. And you don't have to be, every time you send stuff out, that's another thing. Andrew Sheps has talked about this. He's always worried when he sends it out. So don't feel like, unless you're not worried, it's not right. You'll always be worried because of exactly what was talked about in this video. There is no right or wrong answer when it comes to mixing. It's literally art. So because of that, there's a million permutations of possibilities, and it's all based on opinion. And because of that, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no possible way that this is right and this is wrong. So how could you blame yourself? You shouldn't. All you should do is put your heart into it. Do everything you can to make it great. And then when you send it out, this is as great as I can do, because when I listen from front to back of the song, there's nothing else I would change. Then you send it out. And at that point, you wait to see what they say, and if they get back to you in a reasonable time frame with revisions that are on a clear, concise list, if they're willing to talk to you about what they like and don't like, you can obviously make changes and make things better for them so that they do like it. But if you're in a position where you don't hear back and they go completely radio silent, they ghost you, then you should feel lucky that you don't have to do more for somebody who doesn't really care anyway. That's how I look at it. Don't take it to heart. Don't you stop doing what you're doing because of that. Don't worry about them, okay? It could be a number of things. I hope you guys dug the video. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. It really, really helps the channel, helps me out a lot. Also, if you're interested in mixing lessons or mastering lessons, we offer them via screen share. We offer them via phone call, Instagram video chat, you name it. Hit us up. All our contact info is in the description. This is Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. take it easy.